Thank you very much, Dr. Mollenkopf. I think this was now a very important reply, or like let's say, having coming from more from the framework of law and seeing the risks of especially with the COVID-19 situation, which is of course was unique, we might say, so regulation is kind of tough. How can we now, having these two angles of the life and happiness and this, would you like to comment now on them in person first, maybe Mrs. Mollenkopf, that you can maybe add a few words in person, and then we can still see how much time we'll have for the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the two presentations complement each other very well. It's the two sides of the same coin. The situation of older persons and what they can do, what they are not allowed to do, and what is needed at different levels. On the level of regulations, of measurements, of strategies, but also with respect to more and further research, more knowledge about the situation and what is important to older persons. But perhaps also my co-speaker from the other side can comment.
Yes, thank you very much. Please, Mrs. Dolova. You muted your microphone, please. Okay.
Yes. What I am really disturbed during the COVID crisis is this behavior of patronage, of paternalistic attitude towards older people. We want to protect them, and so this is the pretension. And for me, the strong message is to preserve dignity and to allow older people to take a decision about their life,
Exactly.
also in crisis situation. Yeah. Yesterday, I watched that Bulgarian TV discussion, and it was discussion with manager of a big factory, and his view was just to select two groups of people: the one who are active, employed, and so on, and the other who need to be protected. And I think this view is wrong and is leading to discrimination. We have to inform people, to ensure that the places are disinfected and that the distance is kept, but older people needed to be really encouraged to learn more things and to have the self-confidence that they could succeed, and they don't need somebody to say to them, so you need to do that or that. And another example, at the beginning of the crisis, it was a restriction for people below 65 to go shopping. But majority of population discussed this at the opposite, as a restriction for older people to go shopping after 11 o'clock, let's say, in the morning. And this is also typical for this division. Is this a chance or is this restriction for older people? My experience is that we have really to use disaggregated data on age for future research, and I will do that. I did in my research so far very differentiated research on countries, on gender, on education, but now I see the need through this topic also to to analyze the effects differentiated on age. And here in the questions and answers, I was asked about differences within countries. For example, for Germany, between West and East part, for Bulgaria, very important are differences between rural and urban environment. So I see the need to look deeper into different group and individual situation, and on that way we can really support people in the unique situation they are experiencing the crisis, the COVID crisis. And I also want to respond on one question I received from another participant. It was more explanation, which I find very interesting. Why in Serbia, for example, the time of usage of internet is higher. In Bulgaria, I explained through migration, and his explanation was more with the need of trustful information. And that's also very important issue. Thank you to the participant. I always find these open discussions very useful. This is very important reason also to motivate older people why they need to use internet, to have access to truthful information. And I can say this is a valid explanation also for Bulgaria.
Thank you very much. Would you like to respond, Mrs. Mollenkopf, on this?
Yes, perhaps just on the issue of digitalization. You showed the differences between older and younger age groups. And we found that beside this digital gap, which we have very strongly in Germany, beside this generational gap, we have the intergeneration gap. And this is a new shift and a new inequality, because it offers different chances, different opportunities. And we have to be careful about this, I think, in the future. And we are thinking about a new right, the right to have access to the online and public media. Because if everything is more and more provided as an online tool and no longer in form of paper or of personal contact and personal information, then you really have a large share of the population which is excluded from important societal issues. So this is one remark. Another answer is that I appreciate your figures very much. I think they are very important because they explain a lot of satisfaction or dissatisfaction. And one of the reasons is how you can compare yourself to others of your age, of your gender, of your nationality. And if you see that in the same country or in the same age group, there are others who are better off or worse off, this has also an effect on your own perception and the perception of your own position, and by this also to your satisfaction. I don't know whether you have thought about this as well when you looked at your data. And finally, I think you confirmed with your reply now exactly what I said, that older persons are not a homogeneous group. There are so many differences among them that they should not be treated as just one group, but that everybody, governments, colleagues, managers, politicians, should look at the individual context and situations, circumstances of a person when deciding, and please not upon her or him, but with him or her.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mollenkopf. We have, or was there any reply now from your part, Mrs. Stoilova? But I think we can go and see the chat. The chat was one, just to move a little bit on the side of a subject. There is one question again from Mrs. Findeisen that she asks, what's your opinion about reduced transport prices for older people? Has it anything to do with discrimination? Just a brief answer on that one.
Yes, of course, it is a discrimination. It is a positive discrimination. And if a discrimination is to the profit or benefit of a person, then it should, of course, be out. But of course, we can also discuss whether it is fair. There are, again, enormous differences regarding the income of older persons. And why should those older persons who have a good pension or a good income, why should they just have to pay lower prices than maybe young persons who have less income? So these are two different questions. The one, a discrimination is allowed if it is to the benefit of a person. But the question in this case is it fair? Is it a fair discrimination?
Thank you very much. Mrs. Stoilova, would you like to comment on this one?
There are many things which should be mentioned here. I think it's important for overcoming negative stereotypes to have really positive role models of older people who are really active and taking advantage for to voice problems and challenges before their group. And this is very, very, very valuable. And I want to thank here again to Carmen Stadelhofer, because what she has done during the crisis is really amazing. With these Sundays meetings, and here I can also share with you one personal story. My mother is 86 and she can't use internet, and she can't speak foreign languages. And what Carmen did for her is to call her and to sing a song. And it's really, how to say, sign of this solidarity, of this need to connect with people, and not only on conferences, but as individual act of how to say, humanity. And I want to finalize my speech again with the words of the novelist and with the term love. We have really to have understanding and empathy to people living in different situations, remaining in silence, because this is isolation. Isolation is silence, and sharing is what we can offer to not only to older people, to everyone, because again, returning to the novelist, this egocentrism or just this focusing only on economy, on rational things is not enough. We need more in our life, and this more is the feeling of justice, of happiness, of being taken seriously. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are already over time, but I would like to allow Mr. Stanley Miller also putting his question. So please, you have no sound.
Hang on. Unmuted, right, good.
Right.
Thank you very much. There were a comment I wanted to make just about this question of discrimination and the difficulties that were brought up just earlier on. And I must say, I'm slightly embarrassed because I'm coming from the UK, and you may have noticed that we're no longer part of the, well, by January we shall be no longer part of the European Union, something I definitely regret. And I find it ironic that the use of English at this conference, and I express my admiration for the contributions in that respect, that the use of English as an international language, while we as members of the United Kingdom have decided that we are no longer international in the respect of having left or proposing to leave the European Union. However, the point I wanted to make was this difficult question of deciding whether we are a group of older people or whether we should be treated, as has been suggested, as individuals and recognizing our individuality. This must be very difficult for policymakers. But also, there is a particular case that I can quote you. The BBC, the national broadcaster, was asked by the government to take on responsibility for the payment of the fee which enables the BBC to operate. It was no longer directly from the government, it became the BBC's responsibility. And that responsibility has increased the demands on the financing of the BBC. Up till now, we as pensioners, we have received a very great benefit that we don't have to pay once we reach a certain age. That is about to be reversed, and those of us who are in a reasonable financial state will be required to pay the 170 odd euros per year for the right to use the BBC. There is a huge fuss being made now by pensioners, the homogeneous group called pensioners, who are now very annoyed that this privilege is being taken from them. But the point made by Dr. Molenkov is absolutely valid. Why should we object to actually paying for a service that we can afford? A very difficult question, and it comes back to this issue of trying to find the right balance between the respecting the individuality of pensioners, of older people, and also creating policy which can be applied overall. I do not have the wisdom to resolve this issue. I just present it to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. This was very kind to have the British gentleman here also giving his input. And as Dr. Molenkov said, we are not a homogeneous group, the older people in generation. And maybe I think what I just remains in me, which is also really important to have this Article 2 from the Human Rights Convention to see that this age will come into it, which is very much needed, because this is the base where the discrimination then can happen also, because there's no legal protection on here. And Carmen, what do you say? I'm sticking to the time, and we are going in the break now, but I would say we can close now, or give you the last word, please.
So first, Rumiana and Taito, thank you so a lot for this inspiring this impulse lectures and for the very good discussion we had. And I think it's just the beginning of exchange of understanding and position and visions and so on. Normally, we would have now a lunch. We are all tired, and a good lunch and a good glass of wine and to meet old friends and to get new friends. This is in a conference always so important. I know, but unfortunately, it's not possible this time. But nevertheless, we try to give you some possibility to meet you now and to discuss and to continue to discuss. Take a little thing to eat, some small lunch in your home or wherever you are. Take a glass of water, wine, beer, or whatever you like, or a tass of coffee, and go in our coffee bar, because you can meet until the next session. It will be 2:30, a lot of people. And if you like to have an individual meeting, you can make it known to our moderator, and he will make a breakout room, a small breakout room. You can, for 10 minutes, speak with a person you like to speak. And so we have not the same feeling, we know, but you have a feeling to be a little bit connected with people you like to speak for professional reasons or just for personal reasons or for curiosity. So go on, and Leonhard, be so kind and show us the link. You have here the virtual coffee bar application, how it will function, and you have also the link. And if you put on the link, you are welcome in our virtual coffee bar. So thank you a lot. Thank you a lot also to Stefan for the moderation of this session. And we will see us in the different working groups at 2:30. And I'm sure you will have by email got all the links, the best of the, how to say, so we did the best for give to you all the workshops you decide you wish to have at least at 1 or position 2. And if there are problems, don't hesitate to phone us or to write us an email. Okay, so have a good break, and
thank you. Thank you very much, Carmen. Goodbye to all. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Right.